Audio checking. Check. Yeah, that's what you said. I was afraid of. Good evening, everyone. 6 o'clock and time for us to begin the August meeting of the Somerville Board of Architects for review. For those attending for the first time, we will be reviewing the submittals in the order in which they were received by the town office. The properties for these applications have been posted and the agenda meeting packet has been posted on the town website. Our review is based on the Somerville Historic District guidelines, which provide a set of standards for which to consider a project based upon its size, scale, architectural details, materials used, and the relationship to the surrounding historic district. We are charged with maintaining the integrity and ambiance of the Somerville Historic District. And our first order of business is to approve the minutes from the July 7th meeting. Do I have a motion or any changes?
I don't have any changes, but I'll make a motion to approve them.
A second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. So the next order of business is public comments, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. And if someone else has already said the same thing you're going to say, you don't need to spend 3 minutes telling us the same thing. So the first person to have signed in is James Bigelow. Do you wish to make public comments? Come up to the microphone, please, sir.
Maybe we would read, read the, I don't see the issue up here on the board as something, do you have
The
Could
issue,
you step up to the mic? because
Which
we can't-
property?
you have the sign-in sheet?
Yes,
says St. Paul's campus.
St. Paul's.
So I don't see anything about St. Paul's campus.
Right here.
111
5.
Waring Street.
And I thought maybe they would speak first.
That's generally not how things are done, so.
I would like everybody here to read,
Could you use the microphone, please, so that we can hear you?
can't hear me? I'm scared of microphone.
No.
Microphone, they can't hear us.
Then use the microphone, sir.
I've never used a microphone before. I'm here.
First time. for
Okay, I would like everybody here to read the Somerville Town Hall minutes. When St. Paul's Church asked to build Scarden Hall. Quote from St. Paul's people said, "To the residents in the neighborhood, we promise we will not turn Waring Street into a parking lot." That was in the minutes, it was printed in the newspaper, and over time, 10 parking spaces turned into 20 parking spaces, then right across the street, they put in 30 parking spaces. And then people started parking parallel up and down Waring Street. We promise we will not turn Waring Street into a parking lot. Now, or then, there's the lighting problem. I think it's an unauthorized spotlight across the street from Scarlet Hall. And a Somerville employee, I think he's with the stormwater, he coined the phrase, "It lights up like a gas station parking." He said, why would a small residential street, the historic district, be lit up like a gas station parking lot? And it was kind of funny at the time, but when the employees go home for the day, there's nobody over at the church campus. The soccer fields are lit up. The utility maintenance shed is lit up. And there's this unauthorized spotlight lighting up a parking lot, which they promised they wouldn't put in. And there are no cars there. So the whole place is lit up. They paid Paradise and put up a parking lot. I like to go out in my yard sometimes and look up at the night sky. I'm the only one there on all of Waring Street. I'm sure my neighbors are already in bed. And I'm out there and the whole place is lit up like a gas station parking lot. Where's the time? I still have 3 minutes.
Well,
Okay.
1 minute left, sir.
Does anybody here know the historic significance of Waring Street? I was hoping Mr. Waring would be here tonight because his ancestors owned this property. And I don't think anybody here in Somerville realizes the historic significance of Waring Street. Have we had this conversation? It's interesting. It's not a Civil War battlefield, but it's interesting. Is my time up yet? How am I doing?
23 seconds.
Well, I have plenty more to
18.
say if anybody wants to talk to me. I understand that St. Paul's wants to spend $3 million for a new campus. And I think that money would be better spent if they bought property out in Nexton or someplace and started building a nice new campus out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Biglow. Diane Frankenberger is next to sign up.
I'm here to talk about 321 South Laurel Street. I live at 310 Central Avenue. And I built my house close to maybe 25 or so years ago. And at that time, Central Avenue, the only traffic that went down Central Avenue was horse trailers and cars that were going to the Speedway. It was very quiet street. Laurel Street was even more quiet. And so my neighbor, who was very respectful to you all last month, pointed out that all the noise and Central Avenue is very different from Waring Street, Sumter Street, and all the other streets in the historic district. And right now, in the year 2026, beer trucks go down there, Walmart trucks. Who thought that much would be in Knightsville, of all places? I mean, anyway, so my neighbor has asked, respectfully, I thought, to leave up what she had, which they need to be painted, granted, some shutters or some screening that allows for privacy and, quite frankly, that makes life livable. Now, once DOT can agree to put, because they don't agree or they haven't gotten around to it yet, to take down or to put up no through traffic. And once the town agrees to enforce the speed limit and the noise ordinance, life will be livable again. So on her behalf, I'm respectfully asking that she be allowed to keep what she has put up and paint it or stain it until such time as DOT and the town do what I think they ought to do. Then those things could come down. She has spent already a great deal of money, and and all the time I've lived there, she has done the most, making that house presentable as an 1846 house in the year 2026. And thank you for listening. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I cannot make out the surname, but Mary Jo. Hmm? Okay. That's Lawson? Here. Oh, okay. All right. Alex McIntosh.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Evening.
I was initially gonna write something that was gonna speak about, which is mainly St. Paul's. Mainly I'm a parishioner there. But I thought about, well, I better let others, I'm a better listener than a talker. But the gentleman who spoke first up about the saying you should buy property like Nexton or areas like that. We have planted congregations. One in Keene Bay area, St. Timothy's. Another one, Good Samaritans, out towards Summers Corner. So it's not like we haven't tried that. We've done that. And they've taken root pretty well. But even with that, we've grown to having to add a fourth service. We also host a great many outreach missions in the community. Many of our people take active part in civic life and around this area. And we also, in the last some years, the campus also hosts the Trinity Classical Academy there. So it's not like you're trying to avoid growth. Growth is coming to you. So this is a case of how are we going to prepare for this, and how do we feel called for God to call us to steward what he has given us. We don't own anything. It belongs to God. We just charge for using it as best as possible. So that's the challenge that we've been facing from that point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Elise Richardson.
Good evening. I'm
Hello.
Liz Richardson. I live at 126 Waring Street. And I wanted to comment on the lights. I know there's a reason for it. At one time, people were sleeping on church property. And so out of security concerns, they installed the lights. And I will say, one spotlight comes right through the windows on my front door. So, it's well protected now, maybe too much so, but, and also we are concerned about the traffic blocking our driveways. And, so I haven't heard the plan, so that's why I was waiting to comment, but I did want to address these. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Healy.
I'm Karen Neely. I'm here to talk about the the church project, I do know I've been coming to these meetings for years. A lot of you all are new, but it's interesting. I know some of you are really concerned about windows. And there was someone on the board before who was the pillar guy, very concerned about pillars. My thing is, when I look at these proposals, I zero in on the historic rating, and I tend to look at impervious surfaces. And I am somewhat concerned about this project. I will say though, I appreciate the amount of back and forth with the department and the architect. Are you okay? And the architect and working out details. It's a lot of minutia. This is a huge project. Again, I'm looking at where's the water going. It's the property as is already over the allotment for a residential area. It's at 33%, and it's requesting to go up to 40%. Now, I used to teach graphic design, and one of the hated projects was here's 10 pounds of stuff that you have to cram into a 5-pound bag. And I feel like we've got a lot of dreams and aspirations here fitting in an area that maybe is not suited, because case in point, regardless of how much stuff you put underground to take care of the water, that's 40% impervious area. I just want to conclude by saying, care for creation is really important. And I would think the church would feel that way too. Care for creation also, when one cares for creation, one cares for one's community. And I know it's really exciting to be concerned about what's happening on property. I am really concerned about what's going to happen off property. There are 2 creeks nearby. We're talking a lot of water. So that's what's important to me.
Thank you, ma'am. Is this Jim Healy? Okay. All right.
You can hear now? Switch.
It's got a green light on the base, but
Hello? Have to turn it on.
Well,
Everyone back up. Good evening. I, like my wife, have some concerns. You know, it's always great to hear in your community, church is growing, community is growing. It's a great thing. No doubt about that. But the concern is the community around it. And
Jim, can you start the timer for us, please?
thank you. And I, like my wife, look at this, you know, my background's in a lot of engineering and site work and stuff. And not only concerned about the impervious surface, but what's happening during construction. How are you going to control that when we do eventually get rain? That's a real concern with the 2 creeks nearby. And it's a big area, and all that water is going to come in. And then afterwards, I'm not a hydrologist, but looking at, you know, you're basically building an underground pond. One of 2 things are going to happen with that. Either it's going to be retained and percolate, or it's got to go out. If it's going to percolate, it's going to stay in that area and make the rest of the permeable surface less permeable. It already has water in it. If it's going to go out, how and who is going to control that? You know, does it go out right after the storm, during the storm, a week after the storm? And that's just things to consider. I know this may not be your purview on this, but we need to consider this all around this 30 to 40% permeable surface. So thank you for listening.
thank you.
thanks, sir. Peter Gorman.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members. I'm here to speak on 401 South Magnolia. At last month's meeting, I commended the proposal and admitted and urged your approval of it. And since that time, there's been a considerable work on the house, and it's been looks very professional. Today you have before you a proposal for a garage, two-car garage. And again, the design is very consistent with the original house, and I commend you for it. There are two different locations being proposed. One is off South Magnolia, between the house next door and 401. And it looks like it would be pinched in that location. The other location is directly across the street from me on the 3rd Street. And it looks like a more appropriate location and fitted, suitable fit for that property. If it ends there, all will be well and it will be welcome in the neighborhood. There are two plots that are staked out in the backyard. That looks like the owner has future plans for 2 ADUs. That's not a subject for this hearing, but we're going to have serious problems with that if it comes up. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Our first order of business is old business, and that's 321 South Laurel.
Hello.
Hi there. So I had submitted some paperwork. I'm not sure if you have that. Yes, so what I have done here is I know at our last meeting we discussed, the placement of it did not look correct for the historic district. What I have done is used what it would look like black to have that stained and to be able to keep that until the traffic is less where they, you know, do not allow trucks through, where there are, I guess, more, I need a better issue for privacy than we had discussed before. Before it was discussed having a shutter off from a railing. That I don't think is going to be as durable for storms. There's a lot to consider other than just the aesthetics of it. Where last time I feel like it was very focused on the aesthetics. I did also have from the shutter company where they did send a rendering of what that would look like as well on the home. But again, it is mounted to a railing, which is not going to be as secure as this is like built into the home. If even behind like the millwork, the framework, it was built into there to be secure and provide shade and provide privacy, just to make it a lot more livable for what we are dealing with. And I know that aesthetically wise, even the church right across the street from me, it should have wood railings. There are plastic railings there. So I don't know how some things are grandfathered in, just like the pictures that I sent in prior, where there are homes just because they're not as prominently placed where mine is. There's plastic lattice up, that's still there. I'm not understanding how this stuff is allowed, but yet what I've created is not allowed just because I'm in a prominent area. And I would just ask that we can revisit this, just to use a little bit of more common sense of what it's like to live in that area. It varies from street to street. If I lived a street over, I wouldn't need this. This is to make it so that my family can enjoy my front porch. And it's not enjoyable without that barrier there. The sound, the noise, the sun. I mean, it's a multitude of things that it's purposed for.
Comments?
So I don't think anyone argues that you need something there. The sun, the noise, all of that. But what we talked about last time was just the fact that the aesthetic of it wasn't in keeping with the house, the other houses right around it. We talked about putting the railing up. I kind of like what the shutter looking thing. I do feel like as far as it's not really a matter of opinion as far as if I like it, but I do feel like aesthetically, visually, it looks more in keeping as to what would have been there. We talked about the fact that what you built was very modern looking compared to, I guess, what the other designs were.
But if you.
We talked about plantings could cover that. The shutter mounted to the rail, a hurricane might take it off, but just day-to-day wind, that kind of thing. And as it relates to traffic, we're fighting the same thing on West Richardson, trying to get the no-through trucks. I'm not aware of any measures to stop no-through trucks on Central. And you're on the corner there at Central. So I'm not sure, even with no-through trucks on Laurel and enforcing that, again, we all have the dream of speed enforcement. But the town police, every street in this town has the same problem. And everybody wants enforcement, and there's only so many police to go around. So I don't know that the traffic count, that's kind of a dream for all of us. Again, you definitely need something to block sound. You definitely need something to block the sun. We're just trying to figure out, and I was the one that told you last time. It hurts my heart to think of you tearing that down, because I can appreciate as much as anybody here the money that you've spent. It's just unfortunate that I guess the process wasn't clear. And again, to take off the historic railing is just, none of that stuff was within kind of what we were trying to figure out.
The
for you.
railing wasn't secure to begin with. None of my railings are. My front porch is secure. I'm sure you've been on a lot of Somerville front porches where you don't want to walk in certain areas because they're mushy. My front porch was like that. I'm trying to make this a room to where we can actually enjoy it. And I don't see that there's such a variance besides the railing being there of the look once it would be black. I just don't see, and I also submitted a picture as well where a shutter like overlay look could be put on. It's not that picture. It's another one that's just AI with it stained black. Okay.
I thought you had it up.
They were supposed to add that on as well, where you could, or I could make it look more shutterish from that side and just add it to the existing wood that is there. Because the railings are not secure. None of them are on my porch. To support that, I would have to redo my entire front porch.
To put the railing back and to put a shutter up, you would have to redo the entire.
Well, the railing in itself, I still have the railing. None of the railings on my front porch are secure.
Okay.
They have like putty in them. They have long screws.
Sure.
Nobody needs to lean up against like a railing on my front porch. And that's why I'm concerned about having to spend more money than what I've already done. The shutter here that is shown, the rendering would be $2,500 for one shutter on the end that is not going to be as secure. And I do have to worry about a hurricane. Everything, that I do with my home, I'm concerned with that for the longevity of it. But I don't feel like this is going to be secure, propped up by a railing, even if it was, a secure railing. This is just a lot more durable.
So have you explored the idea of leaving the framing, but doing more of a lap style siding on the exterior of that versus this horizontal
I could do something of an addition to the outside of it.
No, well, it wouldn't be an addition. It would just be taking off the horizontal boards there and making that look more of kind of the lap, just like the siding is.
Okay,
That's what we spoke about.
correct. But it was also putting the railing back up, doing everything else. I mean, I could certainly make the end cap of that look a lot more like that rendering.
Which one?
I
was it?
wish we had the other picture as well. That I submitted that they said would be in the packet, because it is a picture of the end cap here from the street, but instead it looks like a shutter form.
Where it was all the way down. I saw that. Yeah, where is that? It's the last picture, I think. Yeah. That one.
Sir. Yes, sir, that's correct. Which I think aesthetically would look very nice with the home, but it would make it a lot more durable.
So this is what you were proposing as an alternative?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, yeah.
So is that applied over what you've already done or in place of it? Or
Yes, sir. Already what I've done, just applying that over top of it so that aesthetically it looks better from that side of the street.
can you go back to what is existing there, please?
It's not a far difference. That's not the same picture though.
Right.
And so then how would that be attached? It would be attached to what you've put up?
Yes, ma'am.
But still no railing.
Correct. I mean, if you want me to put back up a
I
railing,
was just
that
gonna
is
say,
precarious to begin with when I took it down. I don't see the value of adding that back to my home. I
Just
still have that.
aesthetically with the rest of the porch, I guess. Just aesthetically, the railing would look nice to match the rest of the porch.
And believe me, I am trying to keep with the home in
Yeah.
the present day. And I realize that I am just a caretaker of this home. I'm someone passing through, and I just want to make it better for the next person that it gets to reside there.
How is this applique shutter going to be made?
It would be mated out of pressure treated wood and simply applied to what is already there. And if you'd like, I could bring, something back. I don't know what you would require to approve something like this, but I'd be more than willing to work with whatever, to make it look more shutter form.
That would be fine if it were made like a shutter. And by the time you have someone do it, it's going to cost you as much as anything else you're talking about. Because there's a lot of work involved in making a shutter. Even if the movers are not made to move, they're all mortised into the stiles. And there's an appropriate rail partway through the shutter. And on something that size, there's a stile in the middle of the shutter. And you're not going to be saving any money doing that if it's done correctly. Yeah, I feel for you, but by the same token, we're not in a position to be working around historic guidelines and because a person has a porch that's wonky and need of repair. So I think that you would still be better off replacing it with a shop-made shutter. Or if you can get a shop-made shutter that lies flat, that's fine, but I don't think you're going to find somebody who can do a good job of coming out and doing a shutter like that, floor to ceiling shutter made properly on site.
What I was hoping is just to add to the side of the road.
Well, I understand that. I'm saying the process of making on site a shutter like that is going to be very expensive if it's done right. Their shutter companies have all the jigs and everything to relatively mass produce shutters appropriately.
But if you do put up, like, say the AI generated one side, and I know that this is not what you're wanting, but if you put up the one side that's AI generated that's black, and then the other one that looks like a shutter, there's not that much difference.
Yes, there is. Sorry.
I don't see that there's a huge difference there.
Yeah. just about-
Well, that's the kind of sometimes the argument about why a window with mullions between panes looks the same as a simulated or true divided light window. They look different.
I'm just trying to do my best here with what I have.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well,
hoping that
Yeah, we understand.
we understand that.
I think the challenge that we're giving her is the fact that she doesn't know, are we talking about shutters to a railing, shutters all the way down? So we have to decide, are we okay with eliminating the railing? Or do we want her to put the railing back up? I mean, like, we've got to give her some guidance. So when she leaves here, she'll know who she's talking to and what she's talking about. So,
Bart,
and now if it's a shutter all the way down and it just looks like a closed shutter, I mean, what, at that point, what is the purpose of the railing? It's no
What
longer
is
a
the
safety
difference?
issue. I said, if we approve it to where it's a shutter that goes all the way down, then what purpose would the railing be? And you wouldn't be able to see it, wouldn't be able to, so is that what we're saying? We would be okay with a full shutter versus her having to put that railing back up? Is that,
I don't have an issue with that.
I don't have an issue with that.
okay. So we're just talking more of the aesthetic of this picture that's on the screen is what we're trying.
Right. But it should be,
So I do have a question regarding that because last time, unless it was just me, if we have the minutes of it, it was the railing issue. So I guess I'm a little bit confused on.
That's why I'm trying to
Right
clarify
now-
it for you right now. That's why I'm trying to
Appreciate that.
clarify it for you because it's using.
Yes, sir.
I think if you're going to do a shutter appearance all the way down and not do it just to the rail, which is the tradition, railing, which is a traditional approach. I think it would look silly to have the railing in there.
I
Would-
agree.
It would disappear against the
Yeah,
shutter
Yeah,
anyway,
it'd be
so.
pointless.
And it would make then the appropriate scale of the the above the railing and below the railing shutter change. But if you make it a single shutter, then you do would end up having the appropriate break for the horizontal rail.
Is there any reason why you want it to be louvered to where air and light can still come through? I mean, would you be opposed to it just being solid? In other words, match the siding, just lap board and you're done.
I could do lap board over it. I'd be more than willing to do that.
You can close it up with siding.
Huh?
Close it up with siding.
Yeah, it would just basically look like an extension of the siding. It just would be effectively a wall.
I think that was what we were having an issue with.
Is that
That
what?
The
was that an
porch is
issue?
being closed in. At
I don't
least that
recall.
was my concern. Not
Well,
a
and I
porch at that
really
point.
No longer really a port.
Longer porch, yeah.
What is it?
Okay, that was the discussion with that. You put the lap board all the way across, it was no longer a porch.
Okay.
But the whole front is open. I mean, it's obviously still a porch. The whole front of it is open, just the sides are not exposed. I do like the idea of air coming through, but if we could solve this problem with putting the lap board over top of that and painting it the same color of the home or whatever you would advise, I would be more than willing to move forward with that.
I don't think that gets away from the initial concerns.
Mhm.
Beg your pardon?
I don't think that addresses the initial concern
No.
that it was enclosing a porch visually. I'm okay with the louvers all the way down. I think that still reads as an opening that's,
So there's a lot of
You-
focus on this side of the porch, but both ends are currently like this, correct?
Yes, sir, but this
And
is the
what-
visible end where the other end is facing a canal.
Do you agree that it would be very difficult to do an on-site shutter build like this done right?
yeah, I mean, it would be to do it like a shop build. But I would like to see kind of an example maybe of what's proposed.
Yeah.
Make sure that it reads as same quality as a house.
And one of the parts of your application was the shutter to be aluminum and powder coated.
Yes, sir.
Is that a whole lot cheaper than a solid composite material that's the same weight, size as lumber? Because with powder coat, if you get a ding in the powder coat, you got water under the powder coat, it starts peeling.
Hmm.
And then you have a problem of either spot painting it, but not doing a very good job, or repowder coating it. And I think it would be a lot more durable to get one of the new solid composites. But that's just an aside for you to think about.
So whatever the design is, I just want to be clear, this is going to be the same for both sides of the porch.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay.
I think we can do like we did last time and give her the opportunity to come back again with a new proposal for how it would be done. And we have, I gather, agreed to allow a shutter panel built on the outside of the existing work that she did, that would go from top to floor with no railing.
Right.
Is that a proper understanding of what we've all?
Yes.
I believe
up
so,
with?
yeah.
And same for the other side? Or
I think yeah, I guess for the other side, right. I was thinking she doesn't even really need it on the other side.
And if it's attached to what's already there, it's gonna be more stable than trying to build one true to a shop, so it might be fine. So,
Because what is there is very stable, very stable.
If it's going to be built on site, I would like to see detailed drawings of what's to go there, as well as an example of the work of the person who's going to do it.
Yeah, we're trying to help you with some guidance here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand.
So I'll tell you what, here, turn around. If there's a builder here, raise your hand. There's at least two. If there's an architect here, raise your hand. Two. I would speak to those folks before you leave tonight and just see what some options are.
So how do we leave this today then?
That
We're
it's
just going
full
to-
shutter all the way down,
Okay.
railing is off the table.
Perfect.
And then some form of louvered shutter style.
Okay.
Ceiling to floor, floor to ceiling, however you want.
But two
Uh,
panels as shown here.
2 panels, okay.
Replicate something like this photo, then you would be fine with it.
You bring us a detailed drawing, scale drawing,
Okay,
and also let us, if you're going to have it done on site, rather than having it shop made somewhere,
yes, sir.
bring us an example of the person's work,
Okay,
because this is not something that every carpenter is able to do well. Is that correct, contractor wise?
There are companies out there that specialize in.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm,
So that I can give you a call. I can draw a picture.
Yeah, I know Withers is one of them. Withers Industries is one of them, if they're still around, but
Dixon Hill.
yeah, there's a bunch, yeah.
and what is your name, sir?
I'm Jim Lennox.
Oh, okay, nice to meet you.
okay, so
And,
we,
and you are stating that the color will be black.
Yes, sir.
Just wanted to make sure. I
It
understood that.
matches the shutters on the front of it, and I think aesthetically will look very
So-
nice with the home.
is our action considered deferred? Or how do we table?
The other option would be if, rather than have her come back in front of the board again, you want her just to submit stuff in for staff approval. Another option.
And you'd be the staff. I think you're doing a good job, so I would
Yeah,
be
I'm fine with
comfortable
that.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for
Okay,
hearing me.
thank you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you.
So this time. Okay, the next is new business. 211 Sumter.
311.
311, yeah, here we go.
This application, we're looking at doing a dormer off the back of the existing home. I believe we're looking at wood siding now versus, I think in there I said it was hardy plank. But they have since come back and said it was going to be wood siding.
Yes, good evening. My name is Mike Taylor. Here to go over this dormer that we're looking to add and answer any questions. So you've got the drawings, but we're looking to add a second story to the house.
Jim, can we scroll up to the drawings?
Nothing from the front will change. Everything's going to be on the back of the house. So really the only angles you're going to see is going to be maybe from the sides. You'll see a little bit of the dormer. So it's just a shed roof dormer. We've got a pretty low pitch because we're trying to get as much headroom up there as we can. Yes, we're going to be using wood siding that will match the house. It's got about an 8-inch lap. So we will match it. Same thing with the eaves. They're going to match identical with the detail. And the windows, it will be STL grids in those windows. They will be vinyl. It's a Harvey window. We've used those here before in the historic district. It's a very good looking window. The grids look really nice. No, it's all vinyl. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, the house is white. The windows are white. The vinyl is going to be white. So, really, unless you're right up on it, you're not going to, I think, notice the difference too much. The windows that are there are true divided light, older windows, 6/6. So off the back, we've got 3 windows that we're showing there. Those will be very similar in size to what's currently downstairs. At the left elevation, we're showing a window there. That's most likely going to be the egress window for upstairs. The roof, it's got a stand and seam metal roof, and we're going to do the same style, profile, color. And I mean, really I don't think really any angle you're going to be able to see that roof. It's a low pitch that we're putting up there. It's a 212. So I think other than the drip edge, you're not going to see the roof. So we'll match as close as we can with the color. And everything's going to be painted white like the house. The eaves are white, siding's white. So I think this will blend in nicely. We've got it tucked in between those 2 fireplaces. It's going to be equally spaced on the edges. I think that's about it.
I think it's appropriate. I have no issues.
Any other comments? I hear a motion.
And I move to approve as presented.
Second.
I'll second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Didn't need to jump front. Yeah. All right.
Aye.
All 5 ayes.
Very good. Thank you. I'll make sure it looks good.
Thank you.
How was that easier than the end of a porch? Yeah.
Okay.
One was already
Yeah.
built and one wasn't. That's how it's easier.
108 Rutherford.
While they're coming up, this application is basically they have an existing wraparound porch that they are proposing to enclose the back portion in the back of the house, so that you still have pretty much at least half of the porch remaining, if I'm not mistaken. And again, using same materials as what is existing. So I thought it worked in pretty well.
That's right. Good evening, everybody. Quick overview. It's so the porch actually wraps the front, the full side, and portion of the back. We're wishing to enclose that portion of the rear. So the full front and that full side will remain. There's already been some choppy additions put to the rear of this house. We're really trying to straighten out those choppy additions. There is a second question on this one, and that is what to do with these windows. And I know this is going to be the topic. So there's 10 original windows in this house on that front side and on that long side of the porch. None of those windows are currently operational. They're all in pretty rough shape, and the glass in those windows. Yeah, sure. And the glass on those windows is maybe 50% original. The question is, what should we do about this? Right. So we submitted for the addition in the back to go with the SDO Anderson 400, I think is what we submitted on this one, which is a full wood clad window. And the question is, should we just go ahead now and replace all 10 of those original windows with a full SDL wood clad window or some combination of the two? I requested to go ahead and replace all 10 of those windows.
This is the back of the house here?
This is the back of the house. So you see that those additions that were added to the left side, we're going to extend those additions over where those stairs come down now.
So you're gonna, so the side porch will still go all the way down and then,
That's exactly right.
yeah.
Side porch will go all the way down. We're going to try our best too. I didn't submit it in here, but we're going to try to use that original rear door and pull it all the way to the rear where those new steps come down. We just think it'll fit well there. It's in there. Okay.
As well as the, I guess, skinny window next to it. I think those two are being
That's right.
reused.
That's right. A couple of other details are like the brick piers. Obviously, we have enough brick there to go full CMU and rewrap those piers because we'll have to structurally fix that up if we do this. But we'll go full CMU just like is on the left side, and we'll wrap it with the original brick.
Are the windowsills in the back actually lower than the ones on the side? Was that? Just looking at the picture on the right.
It's a very good question. I don't believe they are. I don't believe they are. I think that just might be an illusion of the drawing. They are. Eric says they are.
Okay.
Yes, the windows that are underneath the original porch, the previous edition, all of those, they had heights at like 6'5". They're pretty low because of the existing porch. They were built underneath. Okay.
There increasing jurisdictions that are really fighting to keep old windows old and requiring real serious documentation of a window being deteriorated enough that it cannot be rebuilt. And even if you have only 50% old glass in these, they're gems. I have gone through the process of having all my early 1800s and late 1800s windows rebuilt. And it can be done, and there are people in Charleston that can do it. So I would urge you to keep the old windows, and when you can get around to having ones that you think they're in really sad shape redone, they're still a whole lot cheaper than new windows.
I can get on board with that. I think the only concerns I have is when we're finished with this home that we have appropriate egress where we're supposed to have egress. I'm on board with trying to see what we can do with these windows, and if something changes, I'll come back and talk to you. We can leave the original windows original, put the SDL in on this proposed addition.
Right.
So would we be okay with new windows at the rear of the house, and then they could use those panes to replace any other broken panes or anything they might have?
Beg your pardon?
Are we okay with them doing new windows across the back of the house? It's not visible from the road and so forth. And then any of those sashes, panes, they could potentially use on the front and those visible sides. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're adding additional windows on the porch as well, correct? On the addition side of the.
Correct.
The porch side of the addition.
Correct.
Could those be some of the original windows. So to match, because you have existing windows there that you're trying to match.
I don't have existing windows. It's a good thought, but I don't have existing windows that I could pull to that side.
Okay.
If you look at what's built now, I don't have existing windows finished over there.
Yeah, I think the new construction, new windows that match are fine. And then you just use the old sashes and panes where you can.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And keep the integrity of that left side as it is right now in the front.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
I think this looks good.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Probably a discussion for another time, but when it's at the rear of the house like this and it's all like materials, I'm not even sure why we're looking at it. I think it's just staff approval. I don't know who we need to talk to about getting that done, but I mean, instead of holding folks up for weeks and, you know, I'm not sure under what circumstance we could even deny this.
Basically, what it comes down to is I don't have the authority to approve additions.
Okay.
That has to go, any additions has to go to the bar.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Guys. Unanimous. Okay. Now we got 401 Magnolia.
Into the rear of the house.
Good evening again.
No.
I think I'm starting to become a regular up here and Jim, do you need to introduce what we're doing here?
So we have a couple things here. One is an addition. There's an existing porch off the back that was enclosed many years ago, not in the greatest shape. They would like to remove that and add an addition to kind of basically fill in that corner, essentially. On second of all, they're looking at adding a garage, and there are two proposed locations for the garage.
Yeah, so as several of you experienced yesterday, our project is starting to take shape. And as with any historic renovation, we encounter some surprises. And when we went to tear off the vinyl siding, which thank you for approving that because as Peter mentioned, it's looking really good. It is not structurally sound. It's no longer structurally sound. It's not historic to the home, original to the home. So we're asking that we are able to remove that L shape, which the previous owners had a kitchen in there. And we'd like to square off the back, and you have plans for that. So therefore, we'll add a larger proper kitchen and then a rear porch that will be screened in. And with that, we'll add, I don't know how many feet like come out into the yard, but it'll just be, it will be within keeping of the original structure, adding that addition. So then also we are looking at adding the detached garage. And I think for most of what you're looking at is the integrity of the design and the build. And I have our general contractor, Emily, and Eric, who is our designer right here to answer any clarification questions. We've had this property for about a year. And within that, we've deliberated in so many different ways to try to identify the best placement for the garage and for an accessory structure. And with that being said, the accessory structure will be, I'll come back to you next month, would be towards the back of the property. And then really in looking at and weighing what is around us, the houses on Magnolia, a lot of the drives just go straight down the side of the house. Granted, this one is a corner lot, so there's been more, I guess, discussion with Jim, the town, just how can we make sure that this is representative and within keeping of historical properties. When we looked at the backyard, and that's what some of the neighbors are seeing ribboned off. The grand majestic live oaks are stunning, but present a challenge for where you're going to place the structures in the back. And that being right now, it's a large property, it's grass, it's what everyone wants to see in a historic neighborhood, just open space. If we were to place the garage in the backyard, it would literally be in the center of the backyard, probably about 20 to 30 feet from the rear porch that we're proposing. And the reason being is there's a 27-foot drip line around these grand majestic oaks in order to put that has to be protected in order to put the permanent structure in that place. So therefore, that led us to, well, the side of the yard is where a lot of driveways are. Granted, this one, the footprint of the building would be in line with the back of the house. But it's still on the side, it's towards the back. And even though the recommendation from the town is to put garages in the backyard, this one just has presented some challenges. So that's why we're looking to do it on the side. And let's see. Oh, there's another, and I'm happy to show you kind of my rendering of, you have the full design there. But my rendering of what it would look like. If I can get this open.
To be clear to everyone in the audience, VAR had a field trip yesterday and we went to this property. And I think Don was the only one who was not able to make the visit and see the issues that were brought up in placement. If I understand it correctly, you're not planning to put a garage and 2 more structures in the backyard.
No.
It's either a garage at the side and an ADU in the back, or the garage and the ADU in the back. Is that correct?
That's accessory structure. Yes.
So just to add to that, when you're looking at a home for its purpose, it is for a family to live, to grow, to go to school. And so just the way that this yard is laid out, when we look at it in real life, everything's good in theory. And I understand that we have to abide by certain laws and, you know, be true to history. But when you look at this particular property, the backyard, if we ended up putting the garage in the backyard, it would take up the entire backyard. And so you'd walk out of the house into a building and it just doesn't logistically flow for a home. So the ask is that we can get approval to put it on the side of the home.
And we have met, I should say, we have met with Justin, the arborist, and we'll be meeting with him again. And we've met with DOT. And as of right now, there seems to be consensus as far as we can protect the tree where the driveway would come down the side because it would be with pervious plantation mix as far as the driveway. And DOT is willing to add a side, I guess the side asphalt for the accessory structure at some point.
And I think you mentioned yesterday that the driveway may have to be moved a little further towards the center of the house, but that still works.
Yes. And Eric and Emily can attest to that. Yeah.
And that would be like you drew it, like you just showed us.
Similar. It might have to come a little bit more in front of the house, but we'll, as Emily said yesterday, we'll make it intentional. Like it's to be there.
Well, it's a beautiful piece of property. And like when we went yesterday, the backyard is beautiful. And I can see why you prefer to have it on the side toward the back of the house.
I mean, I think that because it is a corner lot, putting it in the back is an awkward position for it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're happy to answer any questions about the design, the build, if you have any other questions, but yeah. Okay.
Well, I did have one question. The distance from the tree, is there a guideline as to how far over it has to be? What was that? Because I'm looking at the driveway moving closer to the center,
Mm-hmm.
and how would that change the appearance in the front? I see the curve.
So the apron would be shifted over a few feet to the left, so it would go around the tree and to the garage on the side.
Yes, it would be very similar to what you're looking at now. It would just, access from the street would shift over, maybe 6 feet. We would figure out exactly what it needed to be, but it would not be very different from what you're looking at now. That's like.
Because we don't have to worry about a roof structure here or impervious foundation like we would with the garage, because the garage will be set way far back from the tree. So anything that's nearby would be pervious, the plantation mix gravel. Again, if we did it in the backyard, almost half the backyard would end up being that gravel in order to accommodate the driveway.
And then you'd have
I
two
see the
structures.
side elevation of the house. There's left elevation.
What'd you say, David?
Like to see it. Left elevation in the rear. So you're getting rid of that parapet.
The parapet? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Yes. It is rotten. Most of that structure is rotten. And yes, when the demolition happened, when we were pulling the vinyl siding off, just by pulling off, what was that called? The little like archway over the door, the whole wall started to pull back. So it absolutely has to be replaced, but we just want to make sure the design and everything is within keeping of what you wish.
We are making a determination on these plans then. So this is a final approval that we're doing. Okay.
I believe they also, you have an application in for the tree removal committee, correct? Or tree protection committee. So,
We're meeting with them again on Friday, and then we'll go up in front of their advisory board, the tree advisory board.
I think it's next month.
Okay.
That you'll have
Like the
that.
21st or
Yeah. So, that is regarding the tree in front, correct? Or actually, all the trees.
It's a lot of trees, and it's also the magnolia that we have approval to remove, which is will be on the corner of the kitchen addition. One, it's Magnolia Street, so we were thinking that we should keep the magnolia. Two, we obviously want to keep the big, beautiful trees, but the reason it could be removed, I think, was there's some decay on the house, and then, but if we did that, we would have significant expense too for the remediation of how large the trunk is. So we're looking to keep the tree, but that's, I think, part of the reason we have to go back up in front of them.
Okay. Do we have any further discussion? Maybe
No.
make a motion?
Yeah, so we're approving the demolition and then the new build and then the garage location
And design.
and design.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Yes,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
And now 111 Waring.
So for this particular project, we are looking at approval for demolition of Scarden Hall, as well as conceptual approval for the new building that will be used to replace it.
Thank you for having us here tonight from St. Paul's and considering our new project. And well, what a blessing you are to our community. So we appreciate your work. My name is Tripp Jeffords, and I've been the rector or the senior pastor at St. Paul's for 11 years now. And my predecessor was there for 19, Mr. Mike Lumpkin. This is kind of a new project, but it's kind of an old project as well, because during Mike Lumpkin's tenure at St. Paul's, they experienced tremendous growth. And during that time, they had plans to build a new church building, which would be on the present footprint of Scarden Hall that we're talking about demolishing and rebuilding upon. And then an educational building for adults as well would go on that same footprint. And they got about halfway through the project with Door Hall and also Ambler Hall and other things, so CY building, church, Christian youth building, but they couldn't finish the project. So that was about 25 years ago when it started to become a dream that God gave to St. Paul's. And we have a robust ministry. We have outreach ministries that provide for a local community, for the poor, the less fortunate, clothing ministries, prayer ministries. We help people with light bills and things like that. So we're a real asset to our community. And a few years ago, we were blessed enough to have Trinity Classical Academy come under our wing. So they're now a member of St. Paul's, part of our ministry outreach. They need current facilities. And someone on your fine board asked, could it be dual use facilities between the children and our adult education needs? And it really could have at one time, but as we grow, we're adding daytime Bible studies, particularly in the men's Bible studies, and that's the women's Bible studies and things like that. So they do meet at the same time, and there's a need for the school. We do a lot of outreach as well, and we hopefully will be able to build a new ministry center that will house all of our various ministries. So that's what we're here for tonight. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Go for it.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good to see everyone. I'm sorry.
Again, the BAR had a field trip yesterday to this property and had a lot of what you're going to see tonight explained to us on site. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And good to see everyone. And Father Tripp, thank you. I'm Eric Epstein with Epstein Architecture. It's an honor. We're thrilled to be working with St. Paul's on this fantastic project. It's an important project for us. Obviously, it's an important project for St. Paul's Church and its ministries, Trinity Classical Academy. It's certainly an important project for the town and the community. And I think we can all agree that in many ways we are defined by our institutions, our churches, our schools, our civic buildings. Do we respect them? Do we maintain them? Do we invest in them? Do we improve them? And I think it follows that if we improve them and we invest in them, we also improve our communities. And that's what this project is about. So so I think as Jim, I think in the brief, you had an explanation of what we're here for. This is a concept level review. So we'll be back. And also in there is the demolition of Scarden Hall. So we'll touch on that. Jim, should we begin at the, well, let's see, what do we have in the beginning of the slides? Oh, okay. So listen, the site, yes. Oh, that's great. That's great right there. So the site is about 9.6 acres or so. and obviously several buildings. The area where our project is only about an acre, and that's where you see that blue square, and that's Scardon Hall, in fact. So I don't have a clicker, so I'll just say next. Yes, and there is a survey. So we did an inventory of all the trees, everything in there. So all that information is in there. We also have concurrent applications with the BZA and the tree board protection, which we'll be seeing next week. Yes, so looking at the two streets where you could see the project. So on top we see Waring Street. The project site is in the middle. You'll see Scardon Hall right there. To the right is the children's building. To the left is the cemetery at the corner. And that is really kind of the primary public face to the building. West Carolina Avenue. There's a sanctuary, of course, and the cemetery, but our building is about 300 feet away, and there are a lot of woods and trees, and so there's not much you actually see there. Several buildings on the campus. We have the original church sanctuary from 1857. After that came Ambler Hall in 1924, which was by the way, didn't mimic the original church. It's slightly different, has a different roof shape and all of that. Scardon Hall came 1974. It was kind of built on the cheap, and you can tell from those who were there. Then in 1999 and 2000, as Father Tripp pointed out, there was the church, together with another architect, put together a plan, master plan to continue to expand the church. Dorr Hall came around in 2002. It is a very nice building, and after that, the children's building. And so now, if we, I think, go, yeah. So Scardon Hall is it was a one-story building. It's fairly small. It's 13,000 square feet. It is built out of light wood frame. The foundation can't hold much. It can barely hold itself, as you can see right there where the cursor is. And in 1999, the church had the same, Somerville wasn't 55,000 people in 1999, but already the growth was happening and the need was there to expand. So there were, as we understand from the minutes, about at least 9 different options that were considered, including possibly reusing Scardon Hall. And after much reviewing, thinking, and debating, it was agreed that it made sense to replace Scardon Hall. And that was 27 years ago. And the minutes are right here where it says plan approved, take down Scardon Hall eventually, and put up the new buildings. So this is a multi-phased plan that had 3 or 4 phases. The first 2 were built in the first few years. And now we are at the point where we are here to complete the implementation of the plan, which is now the replacement of Scardon Hall with a ministry center and an assembly space. So what you see there is the proposed site plan. The building, of course, because of the needs of today, it's 27 years later, there's additional demand. We now know what the church needs. Of course, they couldn't anticipate everything in 1999. So the building is essentially an L-shaped building, and it does follow actually the original master plan, which was an L-shaped form out of 2 wings, so 2 buildings forming an L that define a courtyard. And we similarly have something. It's very similar to what we have. The courtyard, yes, it is a little bit smaller, and yes, the building is a little bit bigger. But essentially, the architectural partie, the arrangement, is very similar. If we go to the next slide, we can look at the floor plans. So we have the first floor plan. There are essentially 2 wings. Let's call the one on the left the classroom wing. On the first floor, those are all the church spaces. the classrooms, the meeting rooms, support spaces. The entrance is pretty much at the center there off Waring Street, very similar to what we have today at Scarton Hall. And there's a passageway that goes all the way through, so you can go through the building, and that leads you to the courtyard. That's the green ellipse that you see there. And then the other wing of the building is the shared space assembly space. On the right, it is shifted a little bit. We'll see why in a few minutes. And that is, we're calling it the gymatorium, but that's a multi-purpose space for sports, for cafeteria, for auditorium, and so forth. And I think someone yesterday inquired if there would be some pickleball. Was that you, Jane? So I think we're working on that. And Kathy's probably working on a schedule of pickleball hours, so we'll get that to you shortly. So that's the two wings. And upstairs on the next floor, we have the school. Oh, just before that, just a school. And so we go upstairs, and those are the classrooms and labs for Trinity Classical Academy. And this space on the right is the open to below space to the multi-purpose gymatorium. We'll have a really nice space there with the student commons that overlooks onto the gymatorium space below. Let's see, next slide. Okay, so looking at it massing wise, you could see that obviously we're borrowing a lot of the language that is already existing. And if you squinted, if you didn't know which building was new, which old, you probably couldn't be able to tell. But the L shape is expressed as two buildings in a way that are connected. So we have that classroom wing, and we have the gymatorium wing. If we go to the next one, it probably becomes even more apparent there. Go to the next one. Yeah, great. And you can see that sort of jog and plan between those two wings. The classrooms are a little bit forward with the entrance off Waring Street, and the gymatorium is set back more to also allow more screening by the existing trees and new landscaping that we're going to put in place. But the idea is that it reads as two buildings. It is one. Functionally, it needs to be, because all of these spaces need a connection to that shared space in the gymatorium. But how it presents itself is more in the way of two masses. The next one. So borrowing or picking up the similar architectural language as a lot of what you see on campus. So the red metal standing seam roofs, of course, will be carried through, because that's a signature element in all the buildings. Lap white siding, and there are several different types across the campus. There's lap siding, there's board and batten, and there's some shutter style siding as well. We will be looking at that and selecting what is appropriate for where and how we express these buildings. There is some wood trim that you see around the campus. So there are opportunities to incorporate that, and we're saving those for special moments, the entrances, the canopy and so forth. So that's where you will find that. There's some brick on mostly on the ground plane. We'll look at that as well, and concrete painted and concrete bases, especially at Door Hall and at Children's Building, where the buildings kind of rise above grade. If we go to the next one, various elements in architectural expressions. You'll see that some of these are picked up in the new design. On the upper left, where you see the gable roofs, so that's Door Hall. And the idea there, and the way the architect dealt with that large space, is to kind of break it down and make it an interesting roof line of almost several different smaller buildings. We are looking at doing the same thing, even though we are breaking down the building into two masses. Each one will also have an interesting roof line, so it starts to evoke a village-like effect, sort of reducing the scale a little bit more. Let's see, dormers, windows, yes, various elements like rafter tails and so forth. You'll see, like, for instance, there are some very contemporary elements on the buildings as well. A door hall, the multi-line railings. It's actually a very contemporary, fairly modern motif, and as well as the benches there. So each building, as it was added to the campus, related to what was there before, but at the same time realized that, okay, it's not 1826, it's not 1920, it is whatever it is, 2000, and today is 2026. So we also need to relate to contemporary considerations. So next, okay, so here we have the view from Waring Street, and you could see essentially the two portions of the building, the two wings, the classroom one on the right side with the entrance. And that entrance will lead you to that passageway inside that brings you all the way through to that courtyard. And on the left, we see the gymatorium element. Again, it's going to be screened by existing trees and new landscaping. Next time when we see you, we will have a landscaping plan, by the way, for you. Next. Yeah, just going around the building. This is between the children's building and the new classroom wing. We're trying to leave a nice, healthy amount of space there so that we can have plantings and it could feel like a garden that you're walking through. If we go to the next one, I think, yes, we see the courtyard that is there. And you'll see the portico on the left that leads you to the entrance to the, thank you, Jim, that leads you to the entrance. And then the next one, we'll see the entrance in the center of the slide there. And then that's the other side of the passageway that goes right through the building. Let's see, the next one is, yep, I think the final image, that's from the sanctuary. So that's because the cemetery is off to the right. And that's how the gymatorium engages with the plaza where the other buildings are. I think we have two more slides, and those are the straight-on elevations. And I think that's the presentation. Be happy to take some questions and discussion.
I've got, first question I have is, you, in the schoolhouse, second floor, looks like you've got 6 classrooms.
Sounds right.
So what's the current schedule for the academy? K through what, or 1 through what grades?
I'm sorry, which grades? It's 5 through 8.
5 through. Is there an intention to go beyond that at some time in the future?
We played around with that for a while, and what we didn't want to happen was downtown Waring Street, Somerville, a bunch of kids driving around with new driver's licenses and things like that. We felt like if we cut it off at eighth grade, then we would think about building an off-campus school at some future point.
Okay.
What is the difference in the footprint of this versus what y'all had approved 25 years ago? In other words, yeah, that's the question. Footprint, do we know what the footprint of this one is? It was, you said, I think yesterday, 20-something thousand.
Yeah, the new footprint is, so Scarton Hall is 13.5. What we're proposing is 21-ish.
So what, so
about eight.
the future buildings that were never built
The future building, yes.
Would have
So
been 13.
we could get you that. It's,
It was going to be different use too.
I'm sorry.
That it was going to be different
Uh,
use too. If you look at this, where the gymnatorium or
That was going to be.
is going, that was originally intended to be a church, a sanctuary. That has been, once Door Hall was built, and became a functioning sanctuary, this was kind of taken off the drawing board to be used for something else. Now, it is smaller than the gymnatorium, and I think the education building there is smaller than what's proposed, but this was in 1999 also.
Yeah, 25, 26 years ago. So you had approval for 13,000 and some change 25 years ago, plus the removal of Scardon Hall. So yeah, and now it's just 25 years later, you're bigger, you need more space.
that's right.
So just to be clear, like our purview doesn't involve streetlights and parking spaces and drainage issues. We're strictly design. And, so different folks will figure that out. And that's a process for y'all to have to go through. So, yeah.
But I do think, hearing what people had to say this evening, that there are probably some things that can be done to mitigate some of their complaints about what exists currently. There are, again, this is not in our purview, but there are lighting systems out there that light but don't light. And I think there are things that have been said tonight that no matter what you end up doing here, there are things that the church can do to mitigate some of the neighbors' complaints. And again, we don't have anything to do with stuff like whether the underground water collecting system is going to be adequate for the place. That's engineers who work with other permitting parts. So ours is really just determining how this visually impacts the area there. One of the issues with churches is most of them are on residential zoned land, and hardly any of them meet the standard of 30 or 35% maximum impervious. And from a historical note, since I live in the second oldest house in Somerville, the village has grown up around that area, and within 500 to 750 feet of any of our property lines, I think there are 11 churches. So churches at one time were the very central aspect of the community. And so I just toss that in for interest's sake, but I don't think that we can be overly concerned about percentage of impervious property for a church, as long as you're not building on every square inch of it. So I think we have to get back to looking at what the elevations of these buildings are.
I have a question on that when we get back to it.
Well, and I'll real quick echo what you said. I mean, there's a lot of churches here in downtown Somerville. They call Charleston the Holy City, but I think we could make our own claim.
Right.
But, and I don't know of any one of them that is within that 35% impervious surface between parking lots and buildings. And so to single out St. Paul's would be counterproductive. Yeah.
Okay. No, getting back to the elevations or the massing, do appreciate how much you broke down what is a large building on this site. And internally, I think you did a great job. What the Waring Street side though seems to be much more abrupt and more sheer in its face than.
Can you pull
some of
that up,
the
Jim?
Internal elements where you
See the
really did
Waring
break it
Street.
down a lot more. So I guess that was one that stood out to me, the Waring Street elevation. Right, well, you see it there, but I think there, that just doesn't seem to have the same scale that you have in the other elements. And is the link between the two legs, what is that material?
Oh, the other material that is, it's either going to be wood or fiber cement board that is wood-like. Yes, I mean, we're looking for durable materials here because we're building a building for 75 years or maybe 100 years.
Right.
So that's the idea. Yeah, we that will continue to study. There are classrooms that are stacked one on top of each other. So it gets a little bit difficult to break it down more. We did with the entrance and then at the corner as it turns into that sort of courtyard. So we were more successful. Well, we were not more, but we were successful there. So it's something we'll continue to look at. At the same time, it is an institutional building. It is a two-story building. I mean, whom are we fooling? If we're, it's like it is what it is. But yeah, we'll continue looking.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the view from the residents, just.
Yeah, everything to the left of the door is awesome. But I do kind of see what you're saying now with the kind of the broad side of that one. I don't know if plantings would help, some kind of ornamental trees.
Seems very
What is
boxy.
what is the roof line full on of that gymnasium from Waring Street? There's a short gable and then I don't see, does it have another gable or?
Yeah, Jim, if you zoom out just a little bit, you'll see, you're asking about the from Waring Street?
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Waring.
from where-
Yeah. Yes, so in order to keep the height limits, to be within that, to not exceed the other existing buildings, and our marker really is the children's building.
Yeah,
That's
I see now
right.
what I couldn't see to the left of that.
Yeah, so there you go. We've got a couple of gables and then some reverse gables to break it down so that you have a face to it and not just a shed coming back. Yeah.
Now there have been used on some large blank walls, faux windows in like with shutter panels that look like windows or panels that add a texture to a blank wall. I don't know what they're called, but I wonder if looking at some way of treating a blank wall a little bit differently might be helpful.
So one of the things we're looking at is we're breaking it up sort of along the roof line there, right? So that helps already,
That
right?
does.
And we have what we're suggesting now is a board and batten system, but where the battens are a little bit more accentuated. So you get more shadow play on that. So there's a little bit more texture and interest in there. Plus with the landscaping that's going to be there and the existing, some of the existing mature trees, that's going to help a lot. Where I hear you about the kind of the fake, if I may say, fake windows, because they are,
Well,
they're fake.
Yeah.
Hey,
We usually-
Yeah, no.
Faux,
Yeah.
faux
Well,
openings.
we tend to try to be honest with the architecture.
I tend to
try
agree.
Avoid that. I think my
No fake windows.
my architect, fellow architect here would appreciate that. We can look at other ways and see. I think your point is that to make sure that there's enough attention on that you know, we do what we can. with
One
that
of the,
window.
one of the comments has been, we are very reluctant to approve board and batten on at least residential properties. It's not a typical construction material in the historic district. I would not necessarily call what you were doing on the blank wall board and battens or a bunch of articulations that are fairly substantial.
Yeah.
It may be a giant's board and batten.
Maybe, yeah, it may be that because the scale may warrant that. And again, if we want that shadow play, we may want to accentuate that.
Yeah.
So again, look, we're not here to copy things. We want to be derivative. We want to be respectful to, we honor the past by saying, well, what is this sort of, what is this, the central idea there? And then we extract that and then we apply it to the specific problem that we have, the specific time in which we're designing it, right? In 2026. And then we get something creative, but something creative that is relevant both to what was there before, reference that, and to what we have today.
Certainly shadows and a texture, not feeling texture, but the texture that keeps things from being flat or look like they were made out of paper.
Exactly.
Is
Yeah.
important.
Jim, can we go back to 86? 86. Boy, I feel like
You don't want 86 anything.
Yeah, so again, conceptually, all we're talking about tonight. We get that, but we're trying, for coming back. So that the wood look that you've got on the left there, if there's any way to incorporate that, maybe, to kind of break that up on that right side instead of it just being this big white. So just consideration, but that's, just so smooth this next time.
Thank you for that. We are, we also need to check the budget each time we do something.
Yeah, understood.
Yes, but thank you for that suggestion. Yes.
I just want to mention that had a much more contemporary look. But I thought you had another drawing that had different elevations. Was there?
That's why it was backside.
Was that the backside when we're looking at this? Yes, there's a different elevations.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way it's broken up on the backside, I'm basically following you, what you're saying on wearing. It's just it's not broken up. It's just a big space there. I'm concerned about, not concerned, but I'm looking at what it looked like from the Waring Street side. But I'm following you. You're thinking about breaking that up. So it's not such a large space of frontage.
A specific where the classrooms are?
Where the classrooms.
The two classrooms, yeah. The two over two classrooms, yeah. We could take a look at that. We're up against the setback, we're up against, there's a lot of things pushing on there. So, but we'll definitely take a look at that. Thank you.
That's my biggest kind of comment, I guess.
I don't see any problem with it. I'm actually find it very encouraging that churches around here are growing. A lot better than a lot of the other stuff that's growing around here, so. I mean, conceptually, I'd be fine to make a motion to approve.
And then do we need to do the demolition part too, or is that?
Like the demolition request. I think we are all open to that. I think.
Yeah, it was
Should-
approved
it
25
should
years
be
ago. It's
contingent
only got
upon
worse. Yeah.
Our approval of plans.
And the
and
design.
probably For them, they're not going to want to demolish it till they know they can build something there.
Right.
Does someone want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'm fine to make a motion to approve conceptual plans and the demolition of Scarden Hall.
Upon approval of
Final approval, yes. Yeah, this is just for conceptual, so they can move forward with.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any other business? For us?
No.
Have a motion to adjourn.
It's like a billboard.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second down there? Okay, all in favor, yes.
Aye, yep, yes.
We got another conversation. I'm not an architect, I'm not construction. In the midst of some of the, such a big contemporary space.